Do you want to be a person that strives for the dream, or do you want to settle and kind of follow the rules out that are kind of, they're made for us?
Every one of the artists has a different story, and many of them came from hardship and still pursued their passion, which was the art.
All people on the earth, they're all artists. It's natural. We just define it now as this thing of being somebody who paints or someone who's creative. Well, everyone has the capability of being creative. It's those things that we end up stuffing down because we have to, make sure the bills are paid, that way of life. So we kind of lose that creative edge when we walk into that world. I paint large-scale murals. I do shows. I also play music, and for the longest time I've been wanting to fuse the two.
Since nobody in my family were actively painting, I really didn't get it from anybody else. I got it from my own inspiration. I have worked up to become a professional watercolor painter, and that professionalism means that I had to learn to not only do very good work that would be analyzed as such, but we were asked to give lectures and to judge local art scenes. And I started out slowly, and then I worked up to doing a lot of them through the years.
I didn't know you could make anything serious out of being an artist. But I know I always wanted to do something different, and I just knew there was something there. I am head manager and CEO of Uwe's Ice Cream Shop. We like to reflect people's personalities and interests through color, in other words, projected onto their canvas, which is bicycles.
I've always been involved with art. My father was an artist. My mother was into art. I grew up, my dad became a sign painter, of course, to pay the bills. And I grew up around that.
My counselors said it would not be lucrative to go into the arts.
My grandmother, both of them, always told me that I needed to get a practical job. I needed the 401k, I needed health insurance, and I needed all the formal things that you get in this life, American life.
You just become like a doctor, or a business person, or an engineer. And art is always looked as a hobby. It's not really looked down upon. It's just not something that's looked up upon as a career.
If I had spent more time selfishly away from my family, I could have gone much further, but I wouldn't give that up since I have a very happy family, and I'm very proud of them.
I thought it was amazing that you can get up there and paint something out and make it look like something physical in a two-dimensional world. So I look at my work like that I want to create this imagination, this fantastic world where people are allowed to use their own imagination to come up with stories. And that's kind of like an illustrative way of approaching my artwork, rather than these huge types of concepts. I'm trying to tell more of a story rather than depicting what's happening in reality.
It's great to have something that you don't have to have numbers or make calculations or have a backing for it to make moves. You can just make moves on ideas. And I think that's like keen for any artist.
I like challenging people and myself to come up with ideas, to give people the tools to use their imagination at times. Sometimes when I would paint a mural, I wouldn't really even know what I was going to paint. I have certain formulas that I can use and ideas, but a lot of times I would just allow myself to be inspired on the spot. I wouldn't say, oh, you need to follow this path in order to become this kind of artist, because every artist does it differently. I mean, I have plenty of friends. They've done it completely differently.
This is actually the first time where my two passions were running parallel the whole time. My passion of design, industrial design, and my alternate passion of being a cyclist. Using the tool of paint wasn't really substantial in my career. It was just like anything else. You name the tool or the medium to communicate your artistic background. That's what paint is to me. I think a few of my friends were like, hey, you can do some really cool stuff with just like your model making skills. Have you ever done a bike? I was like, you know what, I've never done a bike, but a surface is a surface. So I did one bike here, another bike here. It got to a point where the demand was starting to get pretty substantial, and I still had a full-time job working as a designer. So I was not fully passionate where I was, and I wanted to just further elaborate who I was as a designer, as a person, trying to make the ultimate experience for the client. I knew right when I quit my full-time job that it was just going to be a business, but I did underestimate the demographic. So instead of catering to the clientele or the demographics, like what does everyone like, it was more of what I'm projecting people are liking. So I guess it made a challenge on myself and my team to really push a unique style.
That's one of the great benefits of being, an artist, working for myself, is that I kind of am the judge of what I get to do, what I work on.
But it's very expensive to set up and have the space to do your work.
It's pretty rough. It's a tough life. Not many people are willing to make the sacrifices.
And when you're starting up, you're just like dirt broke, unless you have like financial backing or loans or whatnot.
Not being able to eat at times, living in really unhealthy environments, like abandoned warehouses where there's like a leak in the roof and the rain's coming in and it smells like mildew and
But I did survive off Topper Ramen, and I'm very creative on making different types of ramen recipes. If you want your own business, usually you're not going to become filthy rich. Like you almost gotta take that consequence. It's like you gotta be passionate, you gotta be happy what you do. But if you have your own company, don't look for making millions.
I knew that it would pay off after the amount of time that I was investing in it and going through those hardships. That's all I can think and do for a long time was just eat, breathe, live art. Now, if you're willing to go the route that I went as far as, or, in general, to go the path that I went with it, it's like get ready for, some hard times and at points doubting that you'll ever make it.
The main thing is just having confidence behind who you are and your artwork. That's a key thing, because if you're shifty and you're not really confident behind what you do, that's how your potential client's going to feel. That's how people that are going to work with you feel like.
I'm definitely happy with the choices that I've made. I think I could have done a couple things differently, but then again, I wouldn't be on this path that I'm on right now. Nobody wants to die with regret. Nobody wants to die and think to themselves that they could have done something if they had just tried. That's the weight on the individual. You can go ahead and live that formed life, but it's if you're creative and you have a dream that you want to follow, go for it, shoot for it, and then if it doesn't work out, at least you did it.